JBN, we keep you informed. Falmouth escapee back behind bars. Less than 48 hours after he escaped custody from the Falmouth police in Trelawney, Romario Green is back behind bars. Green, otherwise called Boo, of Tharp Street in Falmouth, escaped from police custody when he attended court on Monday, September 16. Reports are that about 2:40 p.m., Green was charged with murder, conspiracy to murder, and wounding with intent, appeared in the Falmouth Parish Court on charges of simple larceny and housebreaking, which were previously laid against him, during which time he made his escape. He was handed over to the Falmouth police on Wednesday by members of his family after an appeal was made by the police. 2 shot, 1 fatal in Westmoreland. A man was shot and killed and another man injured while they went to visit a friend in their community in Westmoreland early on Monday morning. The deceased has been identified as Sean Powell of Paul Island in the parish. His 23-year-old friend has been admitted in hospital, where he has been treated for gunshot wounds. Reports are that about 12:15 a.m., Powell and his friend went to visit another friend in the community when they were pounced upon by 2 masked men who were armed with handguns. The assailants opened fire at Powell and his friend. Both men were hit and later taken to the hospital, where Powell was pronounced dead. The Westmoreland police are investigating the incident. Westmoreland is one of the 3 western Jamaican parishes that are presently under a state of emergency SOE. The other 2 under the SOE in the region are Hanover and St. James. Lloyd B. Smith held up at knife point in Halfway Tree. Former Deputy Speaker of the House, Lloyd B. Smith, escaped injury on Wednesday afternoon after being held up at knife point by 2 men during an attempted robbery in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. Smith said about 3:30 p.m. he was heading to a mobile phone outlet in Tropical Plaza when he was attacked by the knife men, one of whom ripped his pendant from a chain around his neck. The former Montego Bay mayor said he fought the men until his pants fell off. "I was shouting and screaming, fighting off these guys until my pants fell to my ankles," he said. Smith said although he was shouting for help, none of the passers-by in the usually busy shopping plaza came to his assistance. He said eventually a security guard for the phone outlet intervened and attempted to pull a firearm when the men ran off. "Thank God, I am shaken up but alive," Smith posted on Facebook. He said after the incident, he found the chain from which a pendant was ripped. Traffic cops on corruption charges granted bail. 3 cops attached to the police traffic department who allegedly solicited $6,000 from a motorist who committed a road traffic violation have each been offered $200,000 bail with 1 or 2 sureties. Constable Kevin Fairclough was charged with corruptly soliciting and accepting money to do an act in the performance of his duty, while Constable Junior Reed and Constable Sadiqi Williamson were charged for accepting money to do an act in the performance of their duty. They were ordered by the court to surrender their travel documents and will also report on condition of bail at their respective divisions on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. The 3 were arrested on Sunday, September 8, following allegations that they solicited money from the motorist. The money was paid over and allegedly shared between the constables. A complaint was subsequently made to the police's Professional Standards Oversight Bureau, and the file sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for a ruling. The office subsequently ruled that they be charged. All 3 have been placed on suspension. Mother disappointed in AG's response to claim involving dreadlocked child. A response from the government to a claim scheduled to be heard in the Constitutional Court on Monday has added to the distress to at least one of the parties involved. Shireen Virgo, mother of a then 5-year-old girl, who was blocked from entering Kensington Primary School because of her dreadlocked hairstyle, filed a claim in 2018, arguing that the St. Catherine-based institution's policy against the hairstyle was in breach of her daughter's constitutional rights. Virgo said she was shocked when she saw the response by the Attorney General's chambers, which sought to justify the rule. It is submitted that the objectives that were sought to be achieved by the rule and our policy were the maintenance of an acceptable level of hygiene, as well as the maintenance of discipline and order, which would enhance the effectiveness of the teaching and learning time, read paragraph 47 of the response filed on September 3. Paragraph 48 added, It was targeted at hairstyles that were found to be the source of bad hygiene and disorder in classes, which ultimately reduced the effectiveness of the teaching and learning experience. The response also noted that the child's freedom of expression had not been breached. It contended that the child's parents subscribed to the Nazarite vow, but there is nothing which indicates that the child took a conscious vow and deliberate decision to subscribe to this idea, and that her hairstyle was a manifestation of her belief in that idea. Rastafarians who take the Nazarite vow do not cut their hair. Virgo since asked for the intervention of Prime Minister Andrew Holness to clarify the government's position on the admission of persons with dreadlocks in public schools. In a letter to Holness dated September 16, Virgo expressed disappointment in the response given by the Attorney General's chambers. Still, persons who are placed in higher authority to represent our nation continue to only belittle, scorn, and degrade persons in the dreadlocks community. How can someone look at a little girl and blatantly classify her as nasty, unsanitary, dirty, all because of the way she wears her hair? The mother questioned in a 2-page letter. I cannot believe that this kind of discrimination, harassment, and public humiliation is being dished out to my child and family because of a school policy. I write this letter with a heavy heart and tears in my eyes, she stated, making reference to Holness' apology for the state's role in the 1963 Coral Gardens massacre and the presence of State Minister Orlando Tarrelong, who also has locks in his cabinet. The mother expressed disbelief at the state's response to the suit. I find it hard to believe that you, Mr. Prime Minister, would allow the Attorney General to say that my husband and I have forced dreadlocks and religion on our child, and that she was not given the chance to choose for herself and therefore cannot express herself by wearing locks, Virgo added. The Supreme Court last August granted an injunction preventing the Board of Management of the school from blocking the then 5-year-old girl from entering the school because of her hairstyle. The injunction was granted on a motion filed by their attorney-at-law, Izzat Buchanan, on July 18 on behalf of the parents of the child. The parents at the time were given an ultimatum that their daughter had until August 29, 2018 to remove her locks to enter grade 1 in September, in keeping with the school's policy. Education Ministry halts Mona High's fingerprinting of teachers. Kevin Jones, the principal of Mona High School in St. Andrew, is to desist from forcing teachers at the institution to comply with a request to be fingerprinted to prove their attendance at school, and an investigation is to be launched into the matter. That's according to the Minister with responsibility for education, Carl Samuda, who spoke to the contentious issue in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. He was responding to questions posted by the Member of Parliament, MP for South East St. Andrew, Julian Robinson. According to media reports, Jones implemented the measure at Mona High after discovering that some teachers there were claiming to be present at school when they were not. He said only 8 of more than 140 teachers at the school had refused to comply with the new system. The 8 had reportedly expressed concern about whether their fingerprints would be stored properly and who might have access to them. On Tuesday, Robinson asked Samuda what directive has been given to Mona High School as of now in relation to the fingerprint issue and the continuation of the policy. In pointing out that the data protection law is presently under discussion, Robinson further asked Samuda, is the government aware of where those fingerprint images are stored, who has access to them, whether those images can be used in any other way? Robinson also said he understood what motivated the principal to move in that direction. However, he said, we have to take into consideration the privacy of individuals, the fact that individuals own their data, and the use of their data should be subject to their consent, their knowledge, etc. Responding, Samuda said, they are to desist from the practice that was engaged. No action fingerprinting is to be taken in this regard without the approval of the Ministry of Education, which will also initiate an immediate investigation into the entire thing, including the storage of fingerprints. The minister said it is important to protect all the parties involved. However, Samuda said despite the concerns that have been raised, systems will have to be implemented in schools to enable the authorities to know that teachers are actually in school at the times they should be, and that we know in the middle of the day where they are. But that does not mean that we're going to utilize biometric information, intrusive information of the persons involved. It requires careful examination, and that's why we have put a stop to it until the exercise is complete, said Samuda. When asked by Robinson, Samuda responded that he was not aware of any other public school that was utilizing a similar system for teachers or students. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.